All right, people, it's comfort food season, and sometimes you just want a meal that'll stick to your ribs without breaking the bank. And the perfect option is smothered pork chops. You can get a family pack of pork chops for like $5 or $6. Come home and feed the whole family. And this recipe is just the one you need. Meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. All right, my friends, first things first, let's get these pork chops in a brine. We're gonna go ahead and marinate, brine, whatever you wanna say, with some buttermilk, some hot sauce, and the seasonings of your choice. Here we have some beautiful bone-in pork chops. These are almost like, kind of like a porterhouse cut of a pig. You got the bone in, you got very tender fillets on both sides. We're gonna hit this with a little chicken bouillon powder just to add some MSG and some flavor enhancement. I'm gonna go in with my AP seasoning, which covers all the bases: salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, a few other spices. If you haven't tried this yet, you can get it via my website. And then we're gonna add a little hot sauce to the party just for some spice. It also has some vinegar in there, which is obviously some acid, which is gonna help tenderize the meat. Same thing with the buttermilk. Buttermilk has a higher acid content, and that is gonna tenderize the muscle fibers and the protein, and just give you a tender pork chop, which is what you want. A little bit more hot sauce than that. A few tablespoons of hot sauce, as much seasoning as you feel. We're gonna season our flour as well, so don't overdo it. You wanna let this marinate for at least 30 minutes and up to 24 hours. Anything over 24 hours, the meat will get a little too soft, and that's not what you want. Get in there with your hands, massage that in. Then we're gonna cover it and place it in the refrigerator. We're gonna pair this with a delicious onion gravy, perfect for smothered pork chops. You can plate this up with some mashed potatoes, rice, jambalaya like we're doing today, veggies, whatever floats your boat. All right, guys, so today we're making a nice onion gravy. For that, we need 2 good-sized onions, medium to large. We're just gonna slice them like so, nice and thin. We want them to cook down and almost caramelize a bit before we make our gravy. 2 onions. So just take your nice sharp knife, slice those onions. We're gonna add a little butter, some of that seasoned flour we're gonna make next. That's all gonna go into our gravy. The old school way is to use some of the oil that you fry the pork chops in to make the gravy. We're not gonna do that. We'll use butter today because it's a little cleaner, slightly healthier, and tastes better, in my opinion. Sorry, Grandma.
And this episode is sponsored by David Protein. All right, guys, let's talk about protein for a second, because for a long time, I struggled to find a protein bar that actually tastes good and fits my nutrition goals. That's why I've been keeping David around for a while now. What makes David different is the macro profile. Each bar has 28 grams of protein, only 150 calories, and 0 grams of sugar. About 75% of the calories come from protein, which is one of the highest protein to calorie ratios on the market. That's what they call CFP, calories from protein, and it really matters if you're trying to be intentional about what you eat. Taste-wise, these surprised me the most. The texture is a mix of soft dough with crunchy chips, and flavors are bold without tasting artificial or overly sweet. It actually feels like a real snack, not something you're forcing down. I also like that David is built around real evidence-based nutrition. The protein is highly digestible, gluten-free, and designed to help you hit protein targets without loading up on unnecessary calories or sugar spikes. It fits easily into real life, whether you're busy, on the go, or just need something simple that actually works. Right now, David is offering my viewers a special deal. If you order 4 cartons, you get your 5th carton for free when you use my link or scan the QR code on the screen. And if you don't want to wait, you can actually find David at places like Target, Walmart, Kroger, Publix, and plenty of other retailers. If you're looking for a smart protein-forward snack that actually delivers and tastes great, give David a try.
Next up, my friends, it's time for the seasoned flour. Now, I actually sell a pre-seasoned flour. If you want to try that, you can grab that via my website, but I'm also going to show you how to make a nice one at home. We're going to get the party started with 1 cup of all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to ensure that the pork chops stay nice and extra crispy. They're also going to lighten the color up a little bit. I'm going to kind of eyeball the 1/2 cup. Cornstarch has a higher starch content than flour, so it's going to add extra crispness. Get those in there, followed by 1 packet of the good stuff, delicious on pork chops. Sazon. This is the regular, this is the regular one. My favorite of the ones out there. Going in with a teaspoon or so of chicken bouillon powder, and then a hefty serving of all-purpose seasoning. Again, salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, paprika, a few other spices. That's why we call it all-purpose. It's pretty much good for everything. It's the base layer of flavor, covers all the bases. And it's low sodium, so you can be a little bit heavy-handed with that. Break out the whisk, break out the whisk and mix that to combine. You want to make sure you see that the color has changed a bit on the flour. You can even put a little fingertip into the flour and taste it to make sure that it's seasoned adequately. And this is going to be what we're going to use to bread our pork chops. The cornstarch is important because you want the pork chops to be extra crispy to hold up to that thick and rich gravy that we're going to add on top of there. When we smother the pork chops, we want them to retain a little bit of that crispy coating. So after at least 30 minutes of time in the buttermilk brine, it's time to go ahead and bread our pork chops. We have our seasoned flour, we got our egg wash. We're gonna do a double dredge here. So we're gonna coat it twice basically. From the buttermilk, we're going into the seasoned flour, from the seasoned flour into the egg wash, and then one last time into the seasoned flour before we go into that 350-degree oil. All right guys, the oil is at 355, which is perfect. We're gonna go ahead and place these double breaded pork chops in there. These are the perfect thickness. They're thick, but they're not too thick. That way they can hold up to a little braising in that gravy without getting dry and overcooking. We're gonna fry them until they're golden brown and beautiful. Flip them over, give them another couple minutes, place them on this wire rack, and then get started on our gravy. All right guys, had to call a quick audible. My grandmother was rolling over in her grave when I said I wasn't gonna use any of the oil from the fried pork chop. So we're gonna go ahead and get the party started with that. Just a couple tablespoons, get that flavor in there. Gotta stick to, you can't lose recipes. You gotta stick to the tried and true method. They've been around forever for a reason, right? So we're also gonna add butter to this, but I'm gonna get it started with the onions right in that fry oil. Really let them absorb that flavor. They're gonna release some moisture as they cook down and caramelize a little bit. Once they cook down, I'm gonna add in the butter and then add in the seasoned flour. And that's gonna make the roux for our gravy. All right guys, after you add that seasoned flour to the oil and the butter, you're effectively making a roux, which is the foundation for your gravy. After that, we're gonna add in our chicken stock. That's gonna form that gravy. We're gonna add a little splash of Worcestershire sauce, about a tablespoon, season to taste, add those pork chops back in there, smother them in that gravy, and let them finish cooking. Quick reminder guys that this recipe and all of my recipes can be found at MrMakeItHappen.com. All right people, I'm gonna plate this beautiful smothered pork chop up with this Cajun chicken and sausage jambalaya. I will link to that recipe in this description box as well. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me guys, looking good. The only thing left to do is digging for the taste test, but before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, we got plenty of gravy. The jambalaya is going to pair beautifully. That's a big bite. Let me ration that off a little bit. Jesus. Fumbling around. Bottoms up. The subtle sweetness from caramelizing the onions really do something special to this gravy. I need another bite. Still nice and crispy. Pork chops not overcooked. That's my biggest gripe about smothered pork chops. Most of the time they're overcooked.